It's been raining all day today, off and on, so I'm gonna try and do this as quickly as possible so that I don't get caught in another downpour. Hey everybody, so it turned out that doing my week 3 update didn't quite work out since this job is really demanding more of my time than I thought it was. So I decided to make this video a sort of week 3 plus week 4 update since I do have a lot of stuff that I have done in the past week and a half in my gardens, so definitely enough to constitute a double week update. So here in the front you can see I set up a sturdy trellis with galvanized T-posts and galvanized livestock fencing. At the base of this trellis we have 2 hardy kiwi vines. One of them is male, one of them is female. The male will pollinate the female and the female will produce fruit. Right now they're attached to a stake, but once they get bigger I'll train them onto that trellis. From the kiwi vine, we just come over here, and this is a grapevine. So I planted this a little around a week and a half ago, and it has already started to sprout. It was very interesting because it came with a wax cap on the top. And I did some research and found out that you're not supposed to remove the wax. You're supposed to leave it and then let the sprouts come out on their own. And so that's what I did. And sure enough, here are some sprouts. So there are a couple sprouts there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them grow. And once they get to be a certain height, then I'll decide which one I think is the strongest, and then I'll prune off the other vines because you're really only supposed to have one vine coming out of the base. So I have a small wooden trellis leading up to this tree, and around this tree we've placed a plastic netting that we're going to train the grapevine to travel up. Now this particular variety of grape is called Somerset Seedless. So it will be a seedless grape and it'll be a sort of rose colored, so not quite a red grape and not quite a green grape. And over here is my strawberry patch. I'm actually going to be getting 3 more strawberry plants this afternoon to put down that middle in that middle area. I'm really happy with the way that they've bushed out. I think it was definitely a good decision for me to remove the flowers that were on the plants when I first got them. By removing the flowers that were on these plants when I transplanted them, I basically told the plant that I didn't want it to devote energy to the formation of the flowers, that I wanted it to continue devoting energy to leaf growth. And so you can see right here, this is an example of what's been happening ever since I took those flowers off, is it's been sending out new leaf growth. And the good thing about that is that once it has more leaves, the plant will be able to support more flowers and thus more fruit. So although it might be initially painful to take off the flowers off the plants, I will eventually get more fruit out of it. It's starting to rain again, but I'm gonna try and stick it out for as long as I can. Here are my potatoes. As you can see, they are quite tall and I definitely need to put more soil in there. I really should have put more soil in the past week, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So I don't have a huge amount in my front garden yet because, as you will see, I've really focused on finishing the planting of my back garden. But I do have some tomatoes that are still quite small, some beets, some bell peppers and okra, and then there's a sweet potato plant back there, although most of my sweet potato plants are in the back. So speaking of, that's where we're heading right now. So here's a view of my garden from the fruit side. One of my elderberry plants and the second elderberry plant. My currant has lots of nice looking foliage. My row of Hascap berries. This was the one that I planted first, originally from the farm and nursery. So it's a lot more developed than the other ones. This was one of the 3 that got put in probably a week and a half to 2 weeks after. That's actually pretty well developed. And then there's my comfrey plant doing quite well. And my gooseberry. Here's my asparagus patch. You can see that the plants have already ferned out. I don't know if that's a word, but ferned out sounds good to me. So there are 4 big ones. And only in the recent few weeks, this very small one poked out. Very, very thin, but I'm happy to see it since I originally thought that one of the 5 asparagus crowns that I'd planted didn't succeed. This is my greens patch that I only just planted in the last couple days. Next to the asparagus are mixed greens, where I basically mixed a whole bunch of seeds together and just sprinkled them on the dirt. So in the mix, there's a lettuce mix, there's radicchio, golden purslane, a green called orac, edible chrysanthemum. Over here in this row, this is the kale. And the reason I separated this with straw is because the kale will get much larger than other greens, so I needed to make sure that the spacing was good. And I actually have 2 kale plants on either end that I had picked up from a nursery. Over here is more mixed greens, the same type of mix as on the other side of the kale. And over here is the bok choy, and again I have a separate little aisle for it because the bok choy is supposed to get a little bit bigger than the other greens and so needs more space. Next to the bok choy in the straw, you'll see just little bits of green. Those are sweet potato plants. I ordered the slips from a greenhouse down in southern Ontario, and I'm really excited to see what happens with those. The interesting thing about sweet potatoes is that not only are the tubers edible, but also the leaves. So as the leaves vine out and grow, I'm going to be harvesting some of the leaves and cooking them. And then of course here are my potatoes. I have to fill some of that trench up a bit more to accommodate the growing plants. A row of potatoes with my lemon balm sort of in the middle. Some more sweet potatoes with chocolate mint in the middle next to the lemon balm. I've got a couple flowers that I've sort of interspersed for companion purposes. Marigolds are particularly good for generating a smell that puts off small animals and insects. I've planted some carrots and beets in those little aisleways. There are 3 Jerusalem artichokes. Good King Henry, which is doing well. Oregano. Some basil. So I grew that from seed, so it's still quite small. Another marigold. Alpine strawberry. Garlic chives and chives, which have been doing well since they come up every year almost at mid-April. And my garlic, which is still doing quite well, and I'm really looking forward to being able to pull them up. My little broccoli seedling that I planted is actually still doing pretty well. I mean, it's not forming any very thick stalks or anything, but it's still alive, so that's a plus. And my rhubarb, I was a little worried about it because I thought I'd maybe over harvested, but it's come up with tons of new growth. And in a few days I'll probably be able to pick a few more stalks and make some yummy rhubarb strawberry crumble. So that's the end of my week 3 and week 4 updates. I have now retreated to an overhang because the rain has started again. Which is great for my garden. My plants will love the rain. It just doesn't make for very good filming weather. So if you like this video, please like it and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more updates. I'll definitely be trying my best to do updates every week, but if not every week, every second week will be a certainty. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Happy gardening!